6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Dilini Gunawardena and read by Mario Vijayawardena. The headlines. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena notes that no economy is stable all the time. Special transport services launched ahead of Poson Poya Day. The Bribery Commission and the Financial Intelligence Unit sign a Memorandum of Understanding on Information Exchange. The internship program for Ayurveda graduates is resumed. A census of wild elephants will be carried out this year. In foreign news, heavy bombardments reported in Rafah. In sports news, in women's cricket, Kavisha Dilhari stars as Sri Lankan women beat the West Indies women by 5 wickets. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena notes that no economy is stable all the time. This has been proved by countries that created various economic models throughout world history. The development of science, the development research, and the struggles in public and undercover between the powers in the world affect this. Each party has worked to create something new by searching for new things in the world. The Premier made these remarks taking part at a meeting held in Kirillavala, which was organized by the People's United Front. Under the instructions of Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena, special public transport services have been implemented to facilitate pilgrims visiting the Mihintala temple ahead of the Poson Poya Full Moon Poya Day observed this Friday. The Sri Lanka Railways yesterday inaugurated a complimentary train service from Anuradhapura to Mihintala, launched under the supervision of Minister Gunawardena. This service will remain free of charge for the public during this period. Due to the ongoing maintenance work on the railway track between Mahava and Anuradhapura, special bus services have been introduced for pilgrims travelling from Colombo to Mihintala. The Ministry of Transport has deployed an additional 400 buses to operate between Mahava railway station and Anuradhapura to accommodate the increased demand. The National Poson Week begins tomorrow and extends until the following Monday. The Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU, has entered into a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, to exchange information relating to investigations and prosecution of money laundering, bribery or corruption, and other related offences. According to the Central Bank, the new Anti-Corruption Act No. 9 of 2023 has empowered the Bribery Commission to share information relevant to any investigation with any local law enforcement authority or any other government authority. In terms of the Financial Transactions Reporting Act No. 6 of 2006. The FIU can enter into MOUs with any domestic government institution to exchange information. The MOU would enable both institutions to exchange information which is vital for the prevention, detection and prosecution of money laundering, bribery or corruption and other related offences. Since 2008, the FIU has entered into 44 MOUs with foreign counterparts as well as 13 MOUs with domestic government agencies in order to share information to strengthen the AML-CFT framework of the country. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. State Minister Sisira Jayakodi announced that the halted internship training for Ayurveda graduates, which was delayed due to the ongoing crisis, has recommenced. He highlighted that the internship program offers a monthly pay of 67,500 rupees, with the government allocating 320 million rupees for this initiative. State Minister Jayakodi further stated that the ministry has achieved significant progress. Previously, due to various crises, the internship training for graduates of Ayurveda from universities was delayed. However, internship training for 207 graduates of Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani medicine commenced in early June with a monthly payment of 67,500 rupees. Additionally, training for another 153 graduates will begin by August. In total, the Department of Ayurveda will be providing training for 418 graduates, with the government allocating 320 million rupees for this initiative. The State Minister made these remarks at a press briefing titled Collective Path to a Stable Country held at the President's Media Centre today. The Director General of the Department of Wildlife Conservation, Chandana Surya Bandara, said that a census of wild elephants will be carried out this year. Officers attached to the department will be contacted in this regard soon. Any interested volunteer can join the census as well. The previous wild elephant census was conducted 13 years ago in 2011. According to the calculation, the least number of elephants in the country is 5,876.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Veda Mahatmya.
A discussion is scheduled to be held today between the University Grants Commission and representatives of the University Trade Union Joint Committee to address the wage issues of the non-academic staff of the universities. The co-chairman of the Joint Committee, Dhammika S. Priyantha, emphasized that the strike action now in its 48th day will continue until proper solutions are provided by the authorities. Underscoring the urgency to finding an immediate solution, it was further stated that the UGC also fails to offer adequate solutions. The trade union action will persist.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
And now in Watchlight, the Auditor General's Department has recommended to health authorities to provide medicines at reasonable prices to the people. This recommendation was made through an audit report. The report also recommended that issues in the system of setting and regulating prices of drugs be rectified. Meanwhile, the Auditor General also recommended that legal action be taken against those responsible for the manufacturing of substandard drugs, including human immunoglobulin. He further directed the authorities to develop and implement mechanisms to maintain the quality of medicines continuously.
Coming up, World News.
In world news headlines, heavy bombardments reported in Rafah. President Biden will give legal status to undocumented spouses. Priyanka Gandhi is to finally make electoral debut. Residents are reporting heavy bombardments from tanks and planes in several areas of Rafah, where more than 1 million people had taken refuge before Israel began its offensive on the southern city in May. They say Rafah is being bombed without any intervention from the world and Israel is acting freely there. Israeli tanks were operating inside several areas in the western Rafah as well as in the heart of the city. They also continue to occupy the eastern neighborhoods and outskirts as well as the border with Egypt and the vital Rafah border crossing. President Joe Biden, meanwhile, is set to announce a new policy that would protect hundreds of thousands of undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens from deportation, according to administration officials. The action will apply to those who have been in the country for at least 10 years and will allow them to work in the U.S. legally. It marks the most significant relief program for undocumented migrants ordered in the U.S. since the Obama administration announced a deferred action for childhood arrivals in 2012. The White House believes over 500,000 spouses of U.S. citizens will benefit from this. Earlier in June, Mr. Biden vowed to make the U.S. immigration system more fair and more just. Priyanka Gandhi, the sister of India's main opposition Congress leader Rahul Gandhi, is set to contest her first election. She will contest a seat in the southern Indian state of Kerala after her brother relinquishes it. Rahul Gandhi has represented Wayand as an MP since 2019 and is giving it up as he can only retain one parliamentary seat under Indian law. A win for Priyanka Gandhi would mean the presence of all three Gandhi family members in the Indian parliament. A date for by the election is yet to be announced. And now the main points of the world news segment. Heavy bombardments reported in Rafah. President Biden will give legal status to undocumented spouses. Priyanka Gandhi is to finally make electoral debut.
Development news.
The first ever Source Sri Lanka Fashion and Textile Trade Show was organised with the primary objective of promoting Sri Lanka apparel exports to the UK and the EU and opened yesterday at the London Horticulture Hall with over 50 companies participating at the event. The event was a success as many buyers from the UK and the EU visited and held biz-to-biz meetings with local exhibitors. Since an apparel promotion event of this nature was not held for over 2 decades, key stakeholders of the industry, Lanka Apparel Sourcing Association, the Export Development Board, the Joint Apparel Association Forum, with the support of the Sri Lankan High Commission in the UK, organised the event.
Moving on with sports news.
In women's cricket, Sri Lanka produced a clinical performance to beat the West Indies by 5 wickets in the second one-day international match at the Gala International Stadium in Gala today. The Windies captain Shemaine Campbell won the toss and opted to bat first, but the ball backfired as visitors were all out for 92 due to the disciplined Sri Lankan bowling attack led by off-spinner Kabisha Dilhari, who claimed 4 wickets for 20 runs in 6 overs. In reply, the hosts claimed the victory, scoring 93 runs for 5 wickets in 21 overs. The win gave Sri Lanka an unassailable 2 lead in the 3-match series, which is also part of the ICC Women's Championship 2022-2025, which is a qualifying event for the Women's Cricket World Cup 2025.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account. NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce and the Global Alliance for a Sustainable Planet signed an MOU to tackle urgent climate change issues and promote sustainable development globally. This partnership comes as a recent Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report highlights a significant risk of global temperatures rising 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels within the next few years due to increasing greenhouse gas emissions.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go එකක් තියන youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැයි කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account. NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news, arrangements have been made by the Centre for Banking Studies, the central bank, to conduct an expert panel discussion on trade agreements unlocking economic potential for Sri Lanka. It will take place on the 20th Thursday evening virtually on the Zoom platform. Weather report. The prevailing rainy condition in the southwestern part of the island is expected to somewhat enhance in the next few days from tomorrow. Showers will occur at times in the western Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces and in the Mahanuwara, Nuwara Eliya, Gala and Mathura districts. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in the western and Sabaragamu provinces. Showers or thunder showers may occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Ampara and Madakalapur districts in the evening or night. Strong winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the central hills and northern, north central and northwestern provinces and in the Trikunnamala, Hambantota and Mondragala districts. That was with the report, and now the headlines of this news broadcast. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena notes that no economy is stable all the time. Special transport services launched ahead of Poson Poya Day. The Bribery Commission and the Financial Intelligence Unit signed a memorandum of understanding on information exchange. The internship program for Ayurveda graduates is resumed. A census of wild elephants will be carried out this year. In foreign news, heavy bombardments reported in Rafah. In sports news, in women's cricket, Kavisha Dilhari stars as Sri Lankan women beat the West Indies women by 5 wickets. That concludes this news broadcast. And now it's back to your host on the other side, Chandima Veerakone, to keep you in great company. And yes, of course, Chandima is surprised to see me. Likewise, surprised to see you and Sonal there on the other side as well, in a big conversation this Tuesday evening.
Well, Mario, once you come to this side, I'm sure we are going to continue the big conversation with you as well. So, hope to see you here soon. And that was Mario Vijayawardena bringing you the main bulletin of news this evening. 28 minutes down 6 is the time. This is Radio Sri Lanka.